Hello, welcome along to the Steve Show on BBC6 Music with me, Stephen Merchant. If you are one of the millions of new listeners coming to the show, no doubt every week for the first time, then welcome along. The show is essentially a kind of marketplace where I trade songs with you. Think of me as a sort of aggressive Egyptian market seller. I'm trying to flog a rug to you that you don't really want. That's very much what I'm like. I play songs to you, and then in return you offer me a few shekels, i.e. songs of your own choosing. It's a metaphor I haven't really thought through, and I wish I hadn't even begun it. But we've had a disaster here. I've already spilt my tea. It was a lovely cup of tea. We're just mopping up. If you want to feel free to mop while I talk, because I'm very unsettled by that spilt tea. I like to keep the audience fully abreast of every eventuality.
My concern, Steve, that's going to be sticky for the rest of the show. It
is, isn't it? It's going to be annoying. Maybe I should swap places with you.
Well, let's not.
Okay. Thanks very much. Yeah, no, it's a bit damp, but it's okay. Can I get another brew? Because it was very, very nice indeed. Fascinating. Another piece of fascinating Sony award-winning radio.
Those millions of listeners.
Exactly. They've already turned off.
Droves.
Yeah. But we started the show with "For What It's Worth" by Buffalo Springfield, the protest song of 1967. I'm so up to date. I'm giving you the protest song of 1967. And it was, of course, the band that introduced us to the likes of Neil Young and Stephen Stills. And For What It's Worth was a sort of song that became an anthem, really, for a lot of the disillusioned youth of the late 60s who were very vocal and proactive and politically motivated. And I always feel very ashamed that my generation, I'm 30-odd now, my generation, I think, we're always very apathetic politically. I've never really done anything of any worth with my life. I've never had a sit-in. I have never been out with a placard.
No.
Harry, ever done anything that you're proud of?
Nothing whatsoever. It was one of my big disappointments about university. I didn't go to a particularly good university.
It was shameful.
It's one of the new universities. It used to be like a badminton centre or something.
Right, yeah.
But essentially...
A newsagent.
Yeah, but when I got there, I still thought there'll be this sort of grassroots activism stuff. But there was nothing. No one really cared about anything. I went along to one of the sort of debating society things once. It was rubbish. It was absolutely appalling.
It's normally, nowadays, it's a debate about, who's better, Aguilera or Spears. It's that sort, it's like kind of, let's inaugurate Kermit the Frog into the university. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but the only time I ever had a run-in with the man was when I was at university, and I, of course, went to Warwick University, which is very near where you went in Coventry.
Yeah.
And I used to have a few nights out in Coventry, which is a bit of a dump. I don't want to slag anyone off who lives there. No, come on, it's the ghost town, isn't it? Famously.
Yeah, but they've rebuilt it. It's nice now.
Oh, have they? I haven't been for a while. But there's, as you might expect, a statue of Lady Godiva in the city centre. Godiva, of course, famously rode nude. Did she actually do that, or was that just a myth?
No, she did it. Yeah.
She rode nude through the city centre, and so obviously that's the only thing for which they're proud, and they have a giant statue of the naked Godiva. Drunken one night after some student hijinks, I naturally felt it was hilarious to climb the back, or climb on the horse and sit behind Godiva.
I'd imagine the first student ever to have done that.
The first student ever to have done that. The first student ever to have comically fondled her artificial stone breasts. And I'm there thinking this is the funniest thing I've ever done. Oh, hang on, who's this? It's only a couple of the boys in blue.
The Fuzz.
They say, it was, as we call them, the Fuzz. And I thought, oh, God, here we go. Here's the man, ruining our fun. He told me to climb down. I climbed sheepishly down. I'm not a person who's naturally brave when confronted by authority of any kind. I crumble. And he said, why'd you do that? I said, because that kid told me to do it. It was true, because this other guy had dared me to do it. I went, yeah, it's him. And he went, would you... And he used the classic. He used the classic. Oh, I'm sorry. If he told you to jump off a cliff, would you do it? And I thought I was really rebellious, because I went... Probably. I thought, oh yeah. And of course, then he got out a small notebook. I thought, oh God, here we go. But I got away with a warning. Don't worry. But there's something really embarrassing and shameful about being told off when you're essentially an adult.
Yeah.
There's just something really cringeworthy about it.
They're really good at it, aren't they? The police.
They're incredibly good.
They just make you feel so small. They're like proper bouncers should be.
They're like what bouncers should be, exactly.
Because my only ever run-ins with the police has been when there's been a big crowd, someone I don't know has done something stupid, I'm a mere passerby, I'm asking what's going on, and they talk down to you, Steve. They talk down to you. I don't want to get in trouble with the police.
No, sure.
I love them. They're big, tall, lovely men and women, generally. But they tend to... You just get caught up in stuff, even when it's not your fault.
Yeah, but you're a bit of a smart aleck, aren't you? When you've had a few drinks, you start getting a bit mouthy and making kind of clever remarks, which a few times have almost got us beaten up.
Maybe one day I should come in drunk to do the show and see if I get into trouble.
I think you should... What would be ideal is if you got taught a lesson by someone in the street once for your back chat.
Yeah, it's probably well overdue.
Because you see, I'm happy to slam the likes of Donny Tourette here in the studio, when I'm sort of bravely surrounded by these bouncers, P. Diddy style. But out in the real world, I keep my mouth shut. The worst one for me was when when I first moved to London, I was travelling from one part of London to the other side every day, and it was a 45-minute journey, and no one ever checked my tube ticket because there were no barriers. So after a while, I just thought, this is mad. I'm buying a ticket every day, and no one's ever checking it. And I thought, ding dong, I can get away with murder here. So I stopped buying a ticket. You know, outrageous. I'm not advocating it. It was law breaking. I was youthful. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. But eventually, of course, my comeuppance came after about 6 months, and I was like, walked through. I didn't notice. And the guy came up and went, "Have you got a ticket?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "Well, let's see it." I went, "Okay, all right." And I opened my wallet. Of course, I didn't have a ticket. I went, "Oh, I don't know. Oh, I've lost it. I don't know what's happened. I've lost it." And he went, "Right. Well, where did you buy the ticket?" I went, "Where I started the journey in White City." He went, "Okay, if I phone them up, right, and they've got no evidence of you buying a ticket, okay, then..." And he actually threatened me with, he said, "I could prosecute you. You could even go to prison." He said, "I'm going to ask you again, did you buy a ticket?" And I went, "No." Slightly defiant. "No, I didn't, no." And the thing was, when you're sort of 27, it's so embarrassing to get caught out lying. It's so lame.
That's true, but my problem with that story, Steve, is you've convinced yourself that that you're okay. You said, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing." Of course you knew what you were doing. You were stealing. That's what you were doing.
No, I agree. I was a thieving, but you know, at the same time, it was exactly what, for what it's worth, is all about. Yeah. It was a protest against the man. Oh, he runs a tube train, he expects me to pay for it. Well, no, not unless he's checking my ticket at least twice a day. But no, it's a valuable lesson that if for no other reason, always buy a ticket, just because of the sheer shame of being told off by a fat man who's clearly 3 times as old as you and with a uniform. And when you're in your late 20s and you're working at the BBC, you don't want to be getting told off by people. It's so shameful. Now, of course, featuring Johnny Marr on guitar and songwriting duties, that's Modest Mouse and Dashboard from their current album, We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank. Modest Mouse, incidentally, are doing a couple of gigs over here in May. If you are a Double M fan, then you may want to check them out at the Albert Hall on May 23rd, and before that they will be at All Tomorrow's Parties. 64046 is the text, Stephen with a ph.6music@bbc.co.uk. Get in touch if you've had a lame or embarrassing run-in with the man. Maybe you've tried to answer back to a copper and it's just come back to blow up in your face. Maybe you've been a smart aleck to some rowdy lads in the street. I remember we were just chatting off air here, Harry and I, once, because we grew up in Bristol, city of Bristol, and
tough place.
It was a tough neighbourhood, and yeah, as I say, Harry's, when he gets a bit drunk, he's a bit smart alecky with people for no very good reason.
Yeah.
And if only you could get some of that wit onto the air, we'd be very much happier. But we were somewhere in some big brutes, some biker type lads.
We just bundled out of a pub, and these guys were looking for another pub, which is brilliantly called The Ship. So naturally they rolled up to us. They were big guys. They weren't pretty looking. They looked quite tough. They said, "Yeah, excuse me, lads, where's the ship?" And naturally, quick as a flash, genius, I said, "It's in the sea." And
I mean, you deserved a good kicking.
It wasn't
just for the lameness of the joke.
It wasn't clever. I don't know what I was trying to achieve. It was rubbish.
Who were you trying to impress?
I don't know.
I didn't laugh.
No, I don't know.
There were no hot chicks around.
No,
inevitably it was another Saturday night. You know.
But no, they looked incredibly angry, and we had to scarper.
I definitely felt there was some violence brewing.
Yeah.
At that moment, there was definitely going to, a punch or something was on its way, and I think I diffused the tension with the sort of diplomatic technique which I've become so famous for.
Yeah, well, I did what I always do, is get everyone into trouble and then walk off as quick as I can.
Yeah, and I did the clever trick of pointing in one direction, then running in the other, which amazingly still works. People are still dumbfounded by that one. But yeah, if you've had a run-in with the man, with the police, maybe you've actually been on a protest. Did you go on any of the anti-war demos, Har?
No, I didn't. There's plenty of people there. They didn't need me.
You see, that's exactly the kind of apathetic attitude that I've been talking about. Because I was actually coming away from doing a radio show on another radio station the day of those protests, and I was furious because I couldn't get. I was actually the only person walking in the other direction through the crowd, trying to fight my way in the opposite direction to get to the tube. Yeah. And what angered me was I just got the sense that obviously many people doing it through genuine belief that the war was wrong, and obviously they've been proven right. But there was an awful lot of people who just seemed to be having a day out. They'd taken the kids. There were a lot of people who I could hear them saying, "Should we go for a pint? A bit bored now." I mean, there was genuinely that sense. And I've said before, but there was one guy I remember seeing, and he had his attempt to make Bush and Blair wake up and realised that this was an unnecessary war, was to ride around on a 3-wheel bike wearing a hat with a jester's hat, blowing a horn. That was his method. That's what he was
to arms.
Exactly. He was going to strike fear into the hearts of our major leaders. But yeah, I'm embarrassed. I've never done anything worthwhile or noble. Although, of course, I did give my fee from one of these shows to Comic Relief.
Stop. This has got to stop.
Well, I had a little run-in with a different kind of man earlier this week. I'm not ashamed to say this, right? I like to pop in a charity shop and have a look through the records and CDs. Okay, I've no shame in that. You know, I've been doing it since I was young. I still like to do it. It's like a little treasure trove, isn't it? You never know quite what you're going to find. I was in one in Kentish Town, and it was actually a very noble trip. You know, I say I've not done much noble stuff, but I was actually taking some stuff to the recycle plant. Okay, and I popped in to post some CDs, some DVDs which I'd signed for a charity. So it was a very noble excursion, the whole thing. But before I popped in there, I saw all this junk in my car, and I popped into this charity shop, and this woman came and she went, "There's a bloke taking your photo." I went, "Oh, what?" I looked round, there was a guy with a long lens camera taking shots of me through the glass of me looking through the CDs and records. Okay, papped.
Yeah.
So I went out, I said, "What are you doing?" He went, "Oh, a paparazzi." I went, "Right, okay." Immediately, of course, I'm thinking, right, if there's a particularly slow news day this week, they can run that picture.
Merchant in charity
shop.
Yeah.
They had a picture of my car as well, which had all my recycle stuff. I'm thinking the headline, "Junk Merchant."
Brilliant.
Scrap merchant, even better. So, but if you see it in the paper, because I don't tend to get a lot of the tabloids in the week, so if you do see it, then do send it in, because I would like to see what pun they've come up with. But I don't know, they're going to spin it like, you know, Merchant, despite his vast success,
still
trying to
scrabbling around for cheap records.
Listen, I got Hounds of Love by Kate Bush for £2. Who's the joker? All right,
exactly.
Who's the loser? We got music. We got Elvis Costello. I wanted to play this because it's good. It's a Steve Show, BBC6 music, on this delightful summer's afternoon. I always like to throw in a line like that, which makes me sound a bit more like a DJ.
Yeah, it's good. Sounds slick.
Ricky's always reminding me of, he's a friend of mine, colleague. No, come on. And he's always reminded me of the fact that he heard the radio once and he just switched on. And it was a DJ just went, woke up this morning, sun was shining, I thought, do you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm just going to play some bloody great music. So you just heard Cher, Simply Red.
Oh, that's good stuff, Steve. But not,
Thanks.
Not as good as Sam White in Manchester on the topic of political activism. He went to a demo once, went to the pub afterwards with his anti-Nazi banner in his hand. He was harangued by several large BNP men. Rather than standing his ground and having a discussion with them, he ran out crying and trying to shout abuse, which is a fairly poor show.
I'd have just said, well, let me hear your arguments. They'd have explained their views on immigration. I'd have gone, do you know what, you're absolutely right. Poured out my placard, bought them a pint. That's the best way to diffuse any kind of tension.
And also, stealing from the train companies, you know, they're not that well off. They need our money. Louise in Broadstairs, her trick was to carry a huge pile of old train tickets and would pull them out when asked to show a ticket and just idly flick through them, and they couldn't be bothered to wait for it, and they'd move on to the next sucker.
Well, as an adjunct to my own story, that I did indeed have, for some reason, loads of my old travel cards in there, which just seemed to compound it. To him, that just seemed like part of another elaborate conspiracy, which I couldn't piece together. So I don't know. I don't think there's any safe way except buy a bloody ticket. Sorry, mate, sue me if I'm playing by the rules, but that's the way it is. Listen, the whole reason we get you in, Har, obviously, is not just to offer some droll comment, but because you have chosen music for me that perhaps I've not heard before, perhaps I'm not familiar with. What have you got for me this week?
Well, it's quite exciting this week because I took delivery from my parents' house of my old vinyl collection, which I've not listened to for years. I found this track by the Sea Urchins. I think it was pretty much the last thing they did, and it's called Please Don't Cry.
Harry's choice on this week's Steve Show, Sea Urchins, Please Don't Cry. The fact that we've had to play it off vinyl suggests that it's perhaps quite an obscure track nowadays. What happened to the Urchins?
Well, they split and became Delta, who then subsequently split, which was all a bit sad, really. But the singer James Roberts had a solo album out last year, which was very good. And that track is hard to come by. I saw a copy this week and had to buy it just to boost my number of copies, just in case anything should happen to the others.
Sure, you're that much of a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're very committed. I'm just trying to think, why do you think we are such an apathetic kind of generation? How you've got about 10 seconds to sum it up.
We're just so spoiled, aren't we?
I think it's because we're complacent, isn't it?
Yeah.
High five, mate. We've nailed it. Last week I was slamming Prince William. You know, he suffered enough. I didn't think I need to have a go at him this week, but this week I've had a go at an entire generation. I wouldn't like to be me about now. Let's hear some. I don't know if you remember the Pizzicato 5. I saw them described somewhere as a Tokyo kitsch pop deconstructionist outfit, and I suppose that pretty much sums them up. This is a track called Groovy Is My Name, which I used to play when I used to do a little morning breakfast show for no money in Bristol in about 1996. Have a listen. one of the only novelty songs I can actually bear to listen to more than once. That's Liam Lynch and United States of Whatever. Liam Lynch, in case you didn't realise, is actually a director of music videos and films. He did the recent Tenacious D movie, in case you're interested in such things. And he also created those kind of sock puppet creatures that you see on MTV sometimes that do stuff on there. I don't know why. You notice here I'm actually... you can't tell, listeners, but I'm actually miming sock puppets. Webcam fans will be able to enjoy me doing a sock puppet gesture with my hands. Apparently, if you use your hands a lot whilst talking to gesture, it suggests you're very working class. It's very much. It's true. It's a very class-generating thing. It's why when you see someone like Prince Charles or heartbroken Prince William, you'll notice he doesn't really use his hands unless he's perhaps got them wrapped around a young honey. But he doesn't use them to gesture with because he's educated.
I think the reason for that is because working class people are obviously doing a lot of manual labour.
Exactly.
So while they're doing their job sloppily, they'd be talking.
They'd be nattering away. Absolutely right. But yeah, I use my hands an awful lot. I gesture terribly, and if I'm trying to suggest something big, you'll notice here now my hands are kind of circling around to suggest some bigness. It's a very it's something I'm deeply ashamed of. It's one of the reasons I'm sure I don't have my own TV chat show, beyond the fact that I'm also rubbish. But in case you're interested in Liam Lynch and you're a fan of him and stuff, then you may want to check out the fact that he does a video podcast which you can get on iTunes called Lynchland, which is him kind of doing little sketches and stuff. It's droll, but it's worth checking out if you're a fan. Before we played Liam Lynch, actually, of course, we were talking about sticking it to the man, rather like Liam was in that song. And we've had a number of responses and stuff, people being politically agitated.
Yeah, well, we've got an absolute corker. Dan Meadows in Australia manages to combine sticking it to the man with stealing from train companies. What he did, he had a ticket on the train, but he pretended that he hadn't. Sort of like all twitchy, looking around, looking over his shoulder. The train police found him, caught up with him, and they said, "All right, mate, look, we know you've not got a ticket." He produced the ticket. They thought he was a madman, but he had a lot of fun.
That's a strange way. That's more of a kind of playing with the man. It's not so much sticking with the man, is it? It's tormenting the man, which is I appreciate as well. Rock on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Joanne in Leicestershire's emailed in with a very interesting story about a row she had with her boyfriend, but I think it's sticking it to our man, not the man,
sure,
which is a bit of a problem. But yeah, generally, Steve Show listeners seem to be very politically aware. Pete in the West Country went on the anti-war march 2003, got bored halfway through, went and watched the rugby in the pub.
Yeah, you see, as I'm sure hordes of people did.
Yeah.
Did you, have you ever thought about throwing perhaps a dustbin through a window?
No.
Okay. We'll get to some of the Shijay contributions after we've heard a track from the current Bright Eyes album, Casadega, I believe is how you pronounce it. And this is a track called Soul Singer in a Session Band. I enjoyed Guy Garvey's show last week. I heard some of it. It was good. I suggest you listen in.
I will.
All right?
Thanks.
You going to promise that? Make a note of it in your diary. All right, excellent. Now, you may recall, if you're a regular listener, that we have been searching for a regular female contributor to the show, because it is with great shame that I admit that I do not know any women. And I've not really been able to get anyone on who's... obviously, I know girls, but I don't know people who are desperately passionate about music, desperate to contribute to a music-based show. So we've been seeking out you, the listeners. Perhaps there's undiscovered talent out there. So far, we've had some excellent CDs and MP3s sent in. We're still seeking them out. We'll probably give it another week or so before we start auditioning. We'll actually be bringing some people in and trying them on for size, and I don't mean that in any rude way. And I say I don't really know any women. I do know one woman. I think of her more as an honorary bloke, though, largely because she's quite laddish, I suppose, in a way, but not in an unpleasant way, not in a kind of... Oh, anyway, no, I'm not going to slag her off anymore. I'm just going to welcome her along.
Could you?
Kirsten O'Brien, who came in a couple of weeks ago and, in a sense, kind of launched this search for the Shijay. And the reason...
I'm wondering why I haven't got the gig, given the description.
Can't afford you. Can't afford you.
Really, it's
yeah.
that, is it? Okay, excellent.
Last time Kirsten was in, she was embroiled in a major TV scandal. I'm not going to go into it again.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how did that? Your fingers burned?
Yeah, we styled it out.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you sticking it to them. Actually, you weren't sticking it to the man. You were sticking it to like 8-year-old callers, weren't you?
Apparently, one child wrote in and said, "I want my money back that I was cheated out of." It was just a 2-sentence letter. So
That was written in crayon.
Yeah.
And I hope the poor child got his 8p back.
I shelled out.
Yes, no, I've brought you in because you are an experienced broadcaster of sorts. It's true that you've not ever really broken through into the adult world of broadcasting, you know.
That is true.
But you've but you've become a household name for the under 6s, and that's a talent in itself. But you've worked with the likes of Tony Hart.
Yeah. All the greats, Brian Blessed.
Blessed, of course. That's my impression of Blessed. Yeah.
That's just a laugh.
It's just that's how I imagine Blessed. I imagine if you meet him in a backstage at Panto, that's imagine how he greets you. And then with a giant
It's not
hug.
as it goes. It's with the most incredible amount of swear words your ears have ever heard.
Isn't he
yeah.
Blessed, a foul-mouthed man?
Yes.
Well, he says he's done so much Shakespeare in his time. He's allowed to. He's allowed to just let off some steam.
So,
there. Yeah. Have you got any exciting backstage Panto gossip? It's a little bit out of date, I admit, but
yeah, he nearly killed me once in a sword fighting scenario.
Wow.
When we were doing Panto, you have a routine planned and it's all kind of choreographed, except one night where he decided to throw the choreography out the window, did his own moves, knocked me over. I'm asthmatic, it all get a bit hectic, and in the end I went, Brian, what were you playing at? What was all that about? And he went, sorry love, Branner's in. And because Ken Branner had come.
and he was trying to show off.
Yeah.
He thought you'd actually try and kill you to impress Ken
in
Branner.
Croydon, yeah.
The man who
Children
responds to...
weeping,
He loves that stuff.
Yeah, Branner definitely responds to a blonde-haired TV kids presenter being massacred on stage. Where is it, Croydon?
That's what he likes to
That's what he likes to say.
Remember that trouble with Cheryl Baker?
Exactly. And what have you been up to since we last spoke to you,
What have I
Kirsten?
been up to? Since I was last in... I went to a BBC party, noticed
Yeah.
you weren't there.
No.
All the big people
I never
were
get
there.
invited.
Went to Dolly Parton, had my hair done, went to Noel Gallagher, went to Butlins, ate some lamb, which is controversial for me because I'm vegetarian.
Why?
Chocolate because it was Easter, still with the date.
Oh,
That's
yes.
just a little rundown of everything that I've done.
Now, last time we spoke to you, you were with a fella that you had sourced from the internet. You got him off
Yes,
eBay,
I
was that right?
sourced him.
Yeah, you sourced him off eBay.
Yes,
and
I'm
how's
in
it
the
going?
bid.
Is it? Yes, the highest bid, £4.
We had a ropey moment, and
hang on.
I've established a 3 strikes and you're out rule, and he's on 1 strike.
This could be why you're a very lonely
he was
woman.
livid, and he, in return, I think I now got 1 strike for offering up the 3 strike system. So it's even.
It's even now, yeah.
Yeah.
So what did he do wrong? Can you tell? You can't tell us. Was it in the boudoir?
No, it wasn't actually. It's all to do with cups of tea.
What? He didn't make you a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Oh, you are such a whinging old cow. That's outrageous. He gets 1 strike for not making a cup of tea.
Well, imagine
No man
why,
hasn't got a
that's why he
chance.
was livid. Yeah.
Oh, well, rightly so. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
God bless you.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about sticking it to the man. I don't know why, thinking of this guy, I've thought of that. But you've ever been on a protest? Have you ever rebelled?
I got caught up in that peace march, even though the BBC told us back in the day that we weren't allowed to show any allegiance.
Sure.
But
you
they
believe
were-
in peace, and you felt you were going to break that rule.
No, they were on the route to Selfridges.
Oh, were they?
So I needed to get into the march to get down there. So, yeah.
You picked up a placard.
Well, I had my iPod on it because there was some chanting going on, and that I didn't like it, so I had my iPod on and just blasted out some house and trotted along. I got there quicker than if I'd, tried to go along the designated side bit for pedestrians that weren't joining it.
Sure, you just joined
the
in the
march
march.
was actually kind of moving faster, so I got to Selfridges a bit quicker.
What about running with the police?
Oh yeah, I'm always doing that. The last one, just my birthday, I got running with the police.
Did you?
Yeah. There were some people driving like lunatics. I objected, told them so out the window. They threatened to punch me. The police came. I stopped all the traffic on Tottenham Court Road whilst weaving up and down the traffic shouting, I will not be threatened in my city. I made quite a big deal of it. Yeah, they got booked because I told a few lies, which was quite exciting. But yeah, did leave. I know, I'm sorry. They got booked. But it was my birthday. I needed to.
Oh yeah,
end the night on a
you're
high.
allowed. You're allowed to get people arrested by the police on your birthday by telling lies. Yeah, that's
It's one of
fine.
the rules. So I
Right.
didn't want my brilliant birthday to end on a low and maybe someone in a cell. So I had to twist the truth.
Right.
to
So you
avoid that.
suggested that they not only drove badly but also nicked your purse.
Well, I just pretended how bad the violence was, and some of the words they'd said to me they hadn't actually.
What? That you pretended they'd hurled racist abuse at you?
Yeah, you Norwegians.
Yeah. Are you Norwegian in
I'm
there?
half Norwegian.
Are
yeah.
you? You've got a whiff of the Norwegian about you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Is
Yeah.
that natural blonde hair?
No, it isn't. I'm an aeroplane blonde.
Okay. All right. I don't know what that means, but
I've got a black box.
that's horrific. Okay, there's a good example of why you're not my CJ.
Oh my lord.
This is
I'm so sorry.
This is so grotesque.
Sorry, you asked.
What I love is the
I
fact
thought
that
you knew that gag. That's a Les Dennis gag.
I don't know all of Les Dennis's material. I do
You love
apologise.
his
I'm sorry I
back
can't
catalogue.
police it.
That's why we don't
I
have
have never-
Dennis in the studio.
I have never gone anywhere near his back catalogue. What are you talking about? But
You've matched me
this
now.
is what I like is the fact that you spend most of your time on kids' TV, but suddenly you come on
Yes,
adult
yes.
radio and you feel you can just come out with
Berserk.
profanity.
So I didn't say anything rude. If you actually deconstruct what I said.
Yeah, clever. All right,
It's
you've brilliant. You've outdone it. Well, listen, what we're going to do, the reason we've got you in is to listen to some of the female CJ contributors that have been sent in.
Yes.
See if there's any that...
Am I Sunita, or am I? Can we establish who am I? Am I David Guest? Am I Sunita? Am I Simon Cowell?
You're one of those people who was early on in the show that perhaps that never kind of made it. Do you remember there was one guy who was incredibly dull? And no one even remembers his name. He was an A&R bloke, I think. He was in one of the early series of Pop Idol.
Right.
64046, if you remember his name.
I like Nigel Lithgow.
No, not Lithgow, not Nasty Nigel Lithgow.
He's dating someone weird now.
Yes, he is. It's Joan Jett, isn't it? Or someone like that?
No,
it's not Joan Jett.
It's Presley.
That's right.
It's Priscilla Presley. Yeah.
No, yes, it is. You're right, but it's not Nigel. It's not Nasty Nigel that I'm thinking of. It was another guy, a kind of big bloke who looked like he should have been carrying the equipment as opposed to casting his eyes and ears over talent. But if you know what his name was, 64046, he was one of the early contenders. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll play a. Thank you. Well, you're the one who suggested it. We'll play a tune. We'll come back with some of our SheJ contributors. Parliament and Flashlight from the album Funk'n'Teleshe versus the Placebo Syndrome, which was a concept album that tried to warn people of the dangers of consumerism and listening to disco music. Did we listen, Har? I fear we did not. But you can see how this show is carefully woven together. You know,
it's very
again
clever.
It's again about a man sticking it to the man, or the machine, or the thing. Who was the guy that I was trying to think of? He was in the early days of Pop Stars. Was it called Pop Stars?
Pop Stars, yeah.
And there was Nigel Lithgow. There was the blonde lady. I forget her name. Nikki Chapman.
Yeah.
And was there someone else? Was that another contestant?
Paul Adam. Paul Adam. Some A&R dude from Polydor Records.
There you
quite
are,
a dull man.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to liken you to Paul Adam, Kirsten. I think you're very much the you're the Sharon Osbourne of the team.
Oh, great!
Okay, so as I say, we've been trying to recruit some regular female contributors to the show. We've had some excellent contributions so far, and I'm very excited. I mean, I think there's some genuine undiscovered talent out there, Kirsten, which will give you and I a run for our money.
Have any of them, out of interest, enclosed pictures?
Yes.
Have you looked at them,
I've not
Stephen?
looked at any of the pictures. I'm judging them entirely on their vocal skills.
Okay.
This is not me trying to meet women, Kirsten. You must understand that.
You say
This is a
that.
genuine attempt to recruit talent.
Compiled a separate list of contact details to work through at a later date.
So I thought we would have a little listen to some of the demos that have come through this week. So let's listen to the first one. Who's the first person here?
Yeah, first up, Steve, we've got 23-year-old Jo Reynolds, a research assistant at Southbank Uni. She believes that she's got just the right unique brand of lady banter that we need.
Right, well, we'll be the judge of that. Let's have a listen.
Right, my name's Jo, I'm 23 years old, and hello to everyone on the Stephen Merchant radio show on BBC6 Music. This really is my last-ditch attempt to record something decent for this entry, as I think my housemates will be home anytime soon, and I don't really want them to catch me talking to myself alone in my bedroom again. I was reminded of the advert that I saw on the TV for your radio show, and how excited I got when I heard the Eels song being played in the background, which is incidentally one of my most favourite Eels songs. I think that is perhaps characteristic of one of the things that I love about your show, but also that I love about music generally. And I love discovering new fantastic music in random places, or even better, having it sort of thrust upon you by friends or strangers, or just by odd circumstances.
She's saying all the right things, Har.
Absolutely.
What did you say her name was again?
That's Jo Reynolds.
Is that Jo Reynolds?
It is.
And she's what? She probably said that, but I wasn't paying attention. Was it a student?
Yeah, she's a research assistant at Southbank Uni.
A research assistant. Okay, yeah. Well, I thought she sounded.
23.
She sounded very confident. What are your thoughts, Kirsten? You're
Well, you
a
say
broadcasting professional.
We're only going to go orally, but automatically I got an image of her. I thought she was in one of those little vest and pants sets when she was speaking. I imagined she had
Why?
lip gloss on. I just thought she kind of sounded like, I'm a little student and I've got a cat and... I might just write into Steve. That's what I was getting off that.
You thought she was quite sultry?
Well, no, kind of pixie.
Okay.
Minxy,
and
pixie,
okay, all right.
So if that's what you're going for, then I think she's got it.
Wow, this is quite kind of catty in an Osborne style.
No, I don't mean that at all. Because I.
Are you slagging her off, or are you being
No, if you can't tell, then we're in trouble. No, I think she
men
might.
are from Mars.
She'll be one of those girls that'll come in and she will just have a slouchy jumper on, but she'll look gorgeous. She won't have any makeup on, maybe just a slick of sort of lip gloss, and you'll have trouble concentrating. The pair of you.
Really? So you think
Yeah.
just from her voice alone, you've identified that she's going to distract us from our jobs?
But you might want that.
No, not at all. I can barely stay focused as it is. I can barely stay awake as it is. Who's the second person now?
We've got 29-year-old Karen. She's a Kiwi living in London, doing a master's degree in radio at Goldsmiths Uni. And she says, and I quote, "I have a vast musical taste, everything from hip-hop to folk, and I actively seek out new stuff."
Sounds good.
Hi, Steve, Henry, Dan, and Rufus.
Henry?
What?
My name is Karen. I can assure you I am not a nerd. I have over 600 friends on my MySpace page, so how can I be a nerd? I would also say that I am very open-minded when it comes to good music. Let's think of this like a two-way street. I can share with you my knowledge of new music, and maybe you guys, gentlemen, maybe you can teach me a little bit about
Oh my God.
British culture.
Is she flirting with us?
I don't know.
I tell you what she's done. She's leaned into her mic.
Did we miss the end there? What did she say at the end?
What did she say?
She said, if you know what I mean, Rufus. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever heard in my life.
See, I'm wondering if people are getting the wrong idea here. This is not about us. We're not setting up a naughty chat line that will be advertised late night on cheap cable channels. This is
Let me just
a
write that
program
down.
about music.
Naughty channel.
Yeah, the ones with the 0898 50, you know, and kind of
yeah.
people romping around. Do you want to meet new friends? It's not that sort of thing. This
She
is supposed
doesn't want to. She's got 600.
You're right. Yeah.
Doesn't need any more.
Yeah, but they're MySpace, where they're fictional friends, aren't they? They're friends that don't count. You wouldn't invite them to your birthday.
So
Heaven
far,
forbid.
Joe's in the lead.
What did you make of the Kiwi?
Well, I think I liked her microphone technique because, you know, she can do chatting like this, or she can do talking like that. She's, you know, learnt that, mastered that. Clearly I haven't.
No, that's...
Because that was meant to be me being saucy. And
No, it sounded more like a kind of drunk Irishman. But there we are. So who's our third contributor?
Third up, we've got Emma Martin. She's 35 from Northampton. She loves 80s electro, a bit of prog, and she's getting into Muse, the Guillemots and Arctic Monkeys. She promises she's more cheerful than she sounds on this recording.
Okay.
So a little bit about me then. I'm 35, single, not on here to advertise my wares at all, far too tacky. I have a grown-up's job during the week. I work for my dad and we do something ludicrously interesting with photocopiers. A couple of things are guaranteed to make me cry, so I'll get them out on the table now. Buckaroo, which still scares me senseless, and getting mud in my wellies at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
So all in all, pretty easygoing, a little irreverent, but happiest when talking about and playing music. You might recognise me from the award-winning Take a Break podcast, but they had to let me go because I couldn't read the horoscopes out without laughing. We're all hopelessly in awe of our Mr. Merchant here.
Of course you are.
I'm convinced that he's already hit his creative summit, and the downward spiral into scandal and drugs isn't that far away.
She knows me.
This can only lead to the lucrative West End smash hit musical about his life. And guess who's already jotting down ideas for the stage play?
Ah, okay. Well, she's got the measure of me. It's true. I hit my creative peak many, many moons ago, and now...
Isn't this the best stuff you've done?
No. This is me just filling up time before I die.
can't imagine anything more horrific than going to see a stage play of your life.
Ooh, ow! This is the point at which you'd throw water over me if this was on TV.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'd throw something
You
over
threw
you.
it at me, yeah.
What did you make of our third person?
I thought Emma was quite red, which on this show, I mean, it's apparent to everyone you're simply making everything up.
Yes.
So I'd quite like to see how she would fare in a kind of freestyling scenario.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I liked her voice.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. I'm still going with Joe at the
You
moment.
still like Joe up top?
Yeah.
Up front.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not
I don't know
in
what that means.
sense.
Yeah, sure. No, I thought they were all strong contributors. It's very difficult to tell from the tape. That's exactly what the taster tape was there for. But I think what we're going to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jude, but I'm thinking we're going to get some of the strong contenders in over future weeks, have them sit in here with us, and we can just see how we bounce around. Because, of course, there's no reason why we can't actually end up with a sort of short list of several that we circulate, that we
system,
rotate.
yeah.
I've always wanted to rotate ladies, and this could be my opportunity. Thank you very much for your thoughts on that, Kirsten. Can you hang around?
Yeah.
Can you hang around for us?
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Have you brought in a track?
I have, yeah.
Oh yeah, tell us more about it.
It is Sam Roberts this time. I feel
Okay.
slightly under pressure because last time I brought Kovac in and everyone really loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a Canadian guy, very big in Canada, but he comes over here, does gigs. So, people probably email in going, no, he's massive, we love him. But I don't think he's that big. This is a track called Brother Down.
Oh, and so we'll hear that shortly after the little top of the hour sting thing. Steve Show, BBC6 Music. Chris, come on, Jude, pull your act together. Oh, well, don't worry. One day I'll learn how to drive the desk, and then I'll be responsible for such things. In the
You'll be
meantime,
out of a job.
indeed, yeah, you'll be axed. What was that name? What was the name of that track?
Sam Roberts. It's called Brother Down.
Brother Down. I've enjoyed it actually. So it's got a nice summer light feel to it, which is exactly appropriate in this kind of hot weather.
It's good when he comes over and gigs as well. Catch him if you can. I have no information about when he's around.
Clever. You sounded there for a minute like you were quite authoritative, but
let you down.
Well, the reason we had Kirsten in was because we were reviewing some of the SheJ CDs and MP3s that have come in. If you would like to put yourself forward as a female contributor on the Steve Show, a SheJ as we're calling them, then you can go on the website. What is it? www.bbc.co.uk/6music. Hunt around, you'll find my webpage, and there'll be information there on how to send stuff in. If you are already a broadcaster, if you're already doing stuff on the radio, I'm afraid we're not really looking for you because you've already your chance. What we're looking for is people just to kind of put themselves down on tape, just talking to us, telling us about themselves, and then hopefully we'll draw up a little shortlist and bring some people down, and they can hang out with us. And what a thrill that will be! They'll see behind the curtain, of course, which is it'll be like the Wizard of Oz. They'll be going down the yellow brick road. They'll think very exciting. We're off to meet the wizard, and they'll see it's just a tiny little man with very little.
What you should probably do actually to get in the mood, if you are thinking of giving this a go, is find your kind of ill-dressed, not best-looking friends, sit down with them, have them to look at, to focus on when you're making your tape. That would kind of get you in the right. You're looking at me funny.
Jeez, ow! You're just such a bitch.
That's awful.
You really are. I'm going to throw water over you again. Pop Idol style. Oh, please don't start acting. Let's not start acting on the radio. That's. I saw you in Panto once, didn't I?
When was I acting then?
When you did a little kind of ooh. Is this us flirting? Are we flirting now?
Oh, fine.
Because it's so lame, isn't it?
It is.
What I like about you and I
feel
the wrong
very
angles. We
awkward
misunderstood each other.
What I like about you and I is we've got no chemistry. You know what I mean? It's strange, isn't it? We're friends, but there's no sexual charge between us whatsoever. It's like brother and sister, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely nothing.
And it's like nausea in between.
Right, yeah. It's weird, isn't it? I find you, likeable but irritating, and you find me, well, I'll let you say.
Just like
adorable?
No, an annoying tortoise.
An annoying tortoise.
Yeah.
A giant annoying tortoise. Each week, of course, I've been trying to put together a CD for prospective seducers out there, gentlemen who've perhaps not got the natural knack that I have for picking up honeys, and they're needing my help. And obviously the way to do that is to just deposit a CD with a selection of beautiful tunes on their desk, perhaps at work. Never mention who you are. Just leave it in an empty envelope, in an envelope with nothing on it. Just one disc, no letter, no note. Something slightly erotic and chilling, and erotic and chilling about that, which is the combination I think all ladies appreciate. And this is a track which I feel obliged to play a bit of Serge Gainsbourg, and there's obviously a lot of kind of obvious choices to choose. This one probably I should have checked out what the lyrics were before I selected it. It's the Ballade de Melody Nelson, which sounds just very charming and sexy until you realise that it's about a man having a sort of Lolita-style romp with a kind of sort of teenage nymphette. So, sorry about that. I didn't really realise what the lyrics meant, but my apologies. It's a nice tune anyway. From his 1971 album Histoire de Melody Nelson, that's Serge Gainsbourg, of course, and it's an erotic, if unsavoury tune. I should have checked that out before I played it. Now, of course, it's not just about me suggesting music to you, it's about you, the listeners, contributing songs to the Steve Show, and it's nice. We've had a lot of excellent contributions of late, and we've got quite a few sort of people who tune in abroad. Har, am I right in saying that?
Well, you're right, Steve. Yeah, today, for example, we've got Megan from Sydney in Australia.
Sydney in Australia. Hello, Megan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, what I've identified is a slight delay when I talk to you because of the distance.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yes, it is. So this could get quite awkward. So if you could try and preempt my my questions, and then start answering just as I finish the question, that would really improve things.
That's good.
Okay, good luck. That works. That was nice. Yeah. Okay, so how old are you? Tell us a bit about yourself, Megan. Who are you? What are you about?
I'm 20. I obviously live in Sydney. I work for an insurance company, which is pretty boring. That's about it.
That's it. What are your dreams and hopes for life?
I don't know. To not die.
To not die? You'd like to live forever?
Great plan.
That's well, good luck with that one. A lot of people have tried that so far. It's tricky. It's tricky. You'll find as you get to around the sort of 70s and 80s, your body will start to deteriorate quite dramatically. So bad luck. But good luck. If you find a cure, then let us know. What's the weather like in Sydney? Because over here it's blistering hot.
It's kind of warm, so it'd probably be like your summer.
Ooh, having a go. It's kind of warm. And do you like living in Australia? Because a lot of Australians, of course, come to England, and I don't know what it is they're seeking here, culture perhaps. But what is it that you are you thinking of moving and travelling over here, or are you happy in Sydney?
No, not happy in Sydney at all. It's pretty boring. It's kind of I don't know. There's not much of a scene, a music scene going on.
What kind of stuff are you into generally, culturally?
I don't know, books.
Into
The general
books?
stuff, DVDs.
Sure. Do you like to socialise with friends?
No, not really.
You don't like. You're a bit of a loner.
Yes, yeah.
Oh wow, we found quite an existential corner. It's quite nice. She's adding a bit of profundity and depth. Do you write poetry? Do you write
Sorry?
poetry? Do you write poetry?
No, of course not.
Of course not. Oh, she's so down on herself. It's a shame, you know. It's such a... Well, listen. Let's hear the tune that you've selected. Perhaps that will suggest the beauty in your soul. What have you chosen for us, Megan?
I've chosen Beirut. That's a band. And the song's called Postcards from Italy.
Okay, and can you tell us anything about Beirut, or do you just want us to hear the song?
No, they're a band from the US, and it's a beautiful track. Kind of reminds you of Summer Day, and look out for the ukulele. It's really great.
You've sold it to me already with the ukulele. Let's hear Postcards from Italy. The choice of Megan, who is currently speaking to us from Sydney, Australia. The band of Beirut, which is essentially a bloke called Zach, I've been informed, and a bunch of other people and some instruments. And that was a track called Postcards from Italy. Megan, you still there?
Yes.
Well, there's a slight delay. It's always nerve-wracking, isn't it? You never know. Is she going to be there? Yes, she is. Thank you very much. What time is it in Sydney? I just suddenly realised we probably got you up in the middle of the night, haven't we?
Yeah, it's about 1:20 in the morning.
Man alive, I really appreciate you staying up. Were you doing anything exciting? Were you rocking and rolling?
Yes, dancing in my underwear in bed.
Exactly. She's 20, of course she is, Steve.
She was dancing in her underwear. It's
A vest and pants, I told you that. They're all at it.
Yes, they're all at it. Well, everyone under the age of 30. They're all having a better time than you and I, Kirsten, is what you mean.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much indeed for staying up. And do you have to work tomorrow? You're going to be exhausted and bleary-eyed.
No, I slept in this morning, so I'm all right.
You're okay. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and the tune was most interesting, and I love an unusual instrument, and a lot of people you don't hear the ukulele often enough now. So thank you very much indeed for contributing, and I really appreciate it. I'd love to say I could send you something interesting, but we don't have anything. Do we have signed photos? Do people still give away signed photos?
That wouldn't be interesting if you got that in the post.
Yeah, well, it could be if it was, say, Bob Dylan, highly collectible. I never said it was a signed photo of me. Caught you out. Thank you that's flirting. Thank you very much indeed, Megan. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's so weird, the little delay, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so strange. It's a good job that most conversations aren't like that.
Yeah.
Clever. Okay, well, listen, after the news, we've got a couple more tracks we can squeeze in before the news, and afterwards I'll be playing... I've been rummaging around in our pigeonhole again, and I've dug out a couple of tunes which I think may be of interest to people, new stuff, which I'd like to play. We'll cast our critical ears over it, but before the news, we can still squeeze in a couple more tracks, including this one from Data Rock, came out a couple of months back. Far, was it a couple of years now, maybe? I can't remember, a long time ago anyway. But here's Data Rock, Norwegian band, there's a lot of them around now. On tour in the UK in May, that's Norwegian band Data Rock and Far, 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 which I think came out a couple of years ago or something, on an album. It's the kind of information I should know, God damn it. I've embarrassed myself again. I don't know why I even mentioned it. I should have just let people figure it out for themselves. Kirsten, I've discovered that I've, against my will, turned into a very minor celebrity, and it's most unnerving. I was saying earlier that I was paparazzi'd in a charity shop in Kentish Town.
Were you?
Of all the places that I've been...
Handing stuff over, or...?
No, I mean, I often will generously give to...
large clothes for yourself.
It's impossible. I don't bother with the clothes in charity shops anymore. It's a nightmare. Once you've tried on a lot of size 10 shoes and tried to squeeze into them, because you think, £5, ding dong, you give up after a while when you're size 14 like me. But it's quite unnerving, the sort of minor celebrity thing. Of course, you've been a very minor celebrity for some time now, and it's very much become a way of life for you. But any tips you can give me? What's your experience of it?
I would say lie low, but you can't do that, because I saw you in Brighton the other week, and I saw you about, 2 miles away coming along the stretch at your height, tried to avoid you.
Yeah, here's some
Managed
kind
one
of
time.
entertaining bloke on stilts. Oh, no.
No, it's you, and then I bumped into you another twice, didn't I? So at your height, you're sort of in trouble, really, because you can't even do a hat thing, pull a hat on, because everyone's still going, whoa, he's enormous.
Exactly.
My friend made an interesting comment, actually, about you. She said, the only way he can get away with it, people might not expect him to be that tall, so wouldn't be looking, necessarily, which I thought was a really, do you know what I mean?
They wouldn't expect me to be that tall?
Yes.
I suppose not, yeah, so they wouldn't necessarily... Sure, I think it was me. I went on the pier briefly, but you become a little bit self-conscious on the pier if there's a lot of, chavs hanging around asking for photos and stuff. My friend was talking about the only good thing about the pier is the ghost train, which he sometimes goes on. But he said it's so unscary. The only way you'd be scared by the ghost train on Brighton Pier is if you've got a fear of double doors. It's the only way you'd be unnerved. But you've had some kind of, because I'm wondering what I might expect from that minor celebrity. I've not yet been asked to sort of open supermarket branches and stuff. Has that happened to you?
No, my two worst have been I was in hospital and I had a drip in my left hand, and I'm left-handed.
Oh, that's because I came to visit you.
Yes.
Yeah, we were holding hands, sure. Nice, you see what I've done? I've accused myself of being a drip. Clever.
No, I was asleep on
drip in your
loads
hand.
of drugs, drip in my hand, and in the needle in my hand, and a bloke came up with his child and went, "Excuse me, could you sign an autograph for my son?" And I was like, "I'm in hospital.
Of course.
I can't move my hand. I'm off my face on drugs."
Yeah.
So that was quite a low point. I got woken up on a train as well by a kid who was going, "Here, the kids are doing me head in. Is it you?" And he'd actually shaken me awake. So those are quite nightmarish. Other than that, I don't get bothered.
Oh, good. Otherwise, it's just sort of just more children that you can easily bully.
I can't travel on the tube at sort of 3:25 because they do abuse me.
Well, that's because they've just come out of school, is it?
Yeah, and in a gang, they get bravado and all start
Yeah.
abusing if you're on your own. That's quite frightening.
I bet it is, yeah, 'cause
I
I'm
can't
terrified
stand
of
up to them,
youngsters.
and you certainly can't punch them.
Yeah, of course, you're not allowed to
I've
do that
learnt
being
that,
on
yeah.
kids' TV, yeah. Listen, we can squeeze in one tune before the news. Afterwards, we'll be playing some new music plus another listener suggestion. This is a cover version. I each would like to play a cover. You should give us the jingle.
Mr. Cover.
Thank you very much. This is John Martin and his version of Don't Think Twice, It's Alright by Bob Dylan. Recorded in 1967 when he was only 18 years old and had just become the first white solo artist to be signed to Island Records ever. That's John Martin with his version of Bob Dylan's Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. From 1991, Daisy Chainsaw, Love Your Money. It's a song which sounds as contemporary now as it did then, don't you think?
Yeah.
That could easily be released now. I'm sure it would be a smash.
I wonder if she still looks like a bag lady.
Well, if you are her, then get in touch,
Katie Jane
64046.
Garside?
She's in another band now, I believe, isn't she? She's in a new band now.
She's done some solo stuff as well.
Yeah, she's got another band with some other guy. If you know what that is, 64046, and you can inform us, make us sound like proper DJs. This morning, of course, as happens most weeks, Harry had his fingers in my hole, rummaging around for new CDs, because the pigeonhole does gets filled with new music, and we have to try and plough through it as quickly as possible before yet more new music comes in. So I've dug out a couple of tunes which I thought I would play for you, get your opinion on them. I'm not necessarily saying I'm a huge fan of them, I'm saying they're things which have caught my ear. First up is this band, which I'm not going to say the name on the radio, not on a Sunday afternoon, not if my parents are listening. I'm going to call them Spit Disco, or maybe Ship Disco, as in when the ship goes down. So I'm calling them Ship Disco. You know that they've supported the Rapture and the Klaxons. I guess, would you say they're kind of part of this new rave scene? I guess maybe they're sort of loosely of that ilk. And this is a tune called OK. Released on April 23rd, that's OK, by a band who, as I say, I'm not going to name them, but Ship Disco. Let's call them that. Harry, what were your thoughts on Ship Disco?
Oh, it just kind of washed over me, really, Steve. What is it? New rave?
I don't know if is that right? Is that the term people have been using, new rave? It's part of that kind of, the Klaxons are a part of that gang.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a part of that gang, Steve.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know, it reminded me of the Human League a bit.
Yeah, there's a whiff of the League about it. There's a whiff of that kind of electro-pop influence, certainly.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I didn't take to it initially, although I had to say on repeated listening, it's grown on me a little bit.
It sounded a bit arch to
Did
me.
it? Too arch for you?
Yeah.
You're a man who likes to keep it real.
Absolutely.
Kirsten O'Brien.
I thought it sounded a little bit like Electric Six.
Okay.
To me. I think I could sort of get a workout going to it.
Perhaps on a treadmill?
Yes.
Do you go down the gym much?
No, I don't do any exercise at all, hence I have fat arms.
Let me just see
No,
those
they are
arms.
fat. I've got that woman of a certain age bagginess.
Oh, what's it called? The bat wing?
Bingo wing.
The bingo wing.
yeah.
The bat wing. The bat wing.
Yeah.
You got the bingo wings going
Yeah.
on. Oh, that's a shame. You're quite svelte otherwise.
Svelte.
Isn't that the word? Svelte. Svelte.
Z.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hide things in and took them away.
Do you? Careful use
Yes.
of belts.
Yes.
Clever.
And yes, sucking in.
Would you ever wear a girdle?
I would. I'm getting to that point, yes.
Are you?
Only if you could sort of force it up from your bowel up and make it into a breast. That kind of a...
So you'd have three?
What I mean.
You'd have three
One in the
boobs,
middle.
like something from Total Recall.
No, I just quite like to use all the flab around my belly to force up into one of those kind of buxom wench.
Oh,
easy
okay,
outy
that's
bosoms,
clever,
do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can do that, but...
You could make a fortune if you could design a
Give
piece of
that a
equipment
go,
like
yeah.
that. Good luck with that one.
I've found another gap in the market.
Oh, yeah?
It's suntan lotion for cats. Turns out there isn't any.
Right. There's probably a reason for it, but go on.
No, because if you've got a white cat, you need to put suntan lotion on its ears. I found this out yesterday.
But couldn't you just use regular suntan
Well, you
lotion?
can, but surely it'd be better to have cat suntan lotion.
Why?
Because then it's specifically for the cat, because otherwise it might be allergic to our products. In fact, it's like animal testing in reverse in a way, isn't it? We do actually have to test this on cats to check they're not allergic to
Surely
it.
cats have survived for hundreds, thousands
They
of
get
years.
cancerous ears. I went through all of this yesterday.
Again, good luck with that one, Kirsten. Get straight down the patent office. But before that, let's listen to another tune. Harry, you loved the Soup Dragons, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
I love the Soup Dragon.
All right, now, Harry, did you also love Teenage Fan Club?
Oh, I love them.
All right, do you love the drummer from both of those bands? His name was Paul Quinn.
God, yes.
Do you love his current band, Primary 5?
I would imagine I would.
Well, have a listen to this. This is a track from their current album, Go. The band is Primary 5. The track is 2 AM from their current album, Go. Harry, you love a kind of jingle-jangle, Birds-influenced Teenage Fan Club-style band. Did you enjoy the Primary Go?
Absolutely. I mean, the greatest praise I could give that is that could sit happily on any Teenage Fan Club album and wouldn't look out of place, would it?
Yeah. The Primary 5, it's very difficult to find anything about them. They're one of those bands that's sort of slightly underrepresented on the web, which is where I go for all my music information nowadays. So they may want to sort that out if they're tuning in. Kirsten O'Brien,
No.
you didn't like it?
No, didn't actually.
Didn't go with you?
I'm sorry. No, just plinky plonky guitar.
Oh dear, okay, so I have to have the final casting vote. And I'm going to go with Harry's opinion. I quite liked it. I thought it was quite a charming little tune. I'm surprised that you've been so repulsed on a bright summer's day like this. You're heading down to Butlins after this, I understand.
I am, yes.
Is that for a little holiday or what's happening?
No, it's for personal appearance.
A personal appearance! God, that's exciting news.
I love my chair with the excitement of that. Yeah, you were asking about the life of a minor celebrity. I kept that under my hat.
You certainly did. So what does this involve?
This involves me being on the stage, having a chat with a red coat, the kids asking me some questions, and then I've made something from a cardboard box that I'm going to show the kids how to make.
Wow.
It's a tortoise from a cardboard box.
Is this something you've designed yourself, or is this something because you're on one of those kind of Tony Hart style programs, like the art?
One of the
art program. What's it called?
Program Smart.
Right, and this is where you show kids how to do art and stuff.
Yeah. But unfortunately today, I've already been warned, it's a rugby weekender in there, so by the time I get there, I'm on at 7:30, they will be well full of beer and cider, and I've already been warned there will be men shouting abuse at me.
Of course, even as you're trying to answer the kids' questions.
Yes.
That's going to be
And
extraordinary.
I've made the mistake with this top, because it's got no straps, so if I run on exuberantly, it may, in a Price is Right style, skid off as I run on the stage.
Goodness me, so you're flashing the kids, the drunken guys couldn't believe their luck.
Yeah, it's going to
be a shambles.
I know.
Will you come back and tell us how you got on? Thanks very much indeed. All right, let's have a final tune from the Pigeonhole. This is Elvis Perkins and a track called All the Night Without Love, currently available. The guy is Elvis Perkins. The track is All the Night Without Love, which we believe is currently available for you to buy. And I thought it was a very pleasant tune, the final choice from my Pigeonhole this week. Kirsten O'Brien.
I really liked that. That was suitably maudlin for me. I liked the kind of wailiness of it, and I preferred, it wasn't as plinky plonk. I quite liked the background music.
The maudlin. You're not an unhappy woman, though, at this current time in your life?
No. I'm very joyous, but on a Sunday, sometimes you need to sit down, take stock,
take stock
work
of your
out
life.
your life isn't going where you thought it was because you're heading to Butlins for a rugby weekender and maybe feel a little bit down about that.
How much money do you get for something like that? Come on, just out of interest. Is it silly money? I mean, is it worth going through the abuse and it's going to be interminable, isn't it?
Yes, but let's just say years ago I did, once when I was doing the Flying Eye, it was worth me hiring the plane and flying to Skegness to do a PA.
Really?
So it was worth, yes.
Wow, you must have some serious lolly. You don't hear that enough, do you? You don't hear lolly enough. Harry, what were your thoughts on Elvis Perkins?
I enjoyed it very much, Steve. With a kind of wailing violin going on, had a bit of a sea shanty feel to it. I can imagine vomiting over the side of a trawler while listening to that. Yeah, I enjoyed it greatly.
Have you got any public appearances lined up?
I'll be walking from Charing Cross to my office tomorrow morning at about 8:45.
What will you be wearing?
Trousers, shirt, tie, shoes.
The classic ensemble.
Yeah.
We should point this out because although Kirsten is a TV presenter, one of the big names in kids entertainment,
massive pro,
Harry's a nobody. He is just a guy who works in a bank, and that's exactly what this show's about. You know, it's not about getting TV personalities on to witter away. It's about fans, music lovers like Harry, who just do regular jobs. A regular Joe who's come on, he's offered us some great music.
So at the end of the show, you've actually dissed me for turning up.
I pretty much have. We have to play a trial. We can hopefully choose. We can squeeze in. Can we get the Staple Singers in and maybe another tune? We'll see how we go. The Staple Singers, I'll take you there. The final tune on this week's The Steve Show. As I have with me professional TV presenter Kirsten O'Brien, I'm going to hand over the reins to her so that she can talk and fill for the next, what we got, minute or so, and you've got to hit the 5 o'clock mark bang on, because that's when Stuart McConey's programme starts. I don't want you finishing short and me having to fill, alright? You ready to go?
You're telling me for the next, coming up minutes, I've got to get us off air?
You've got to get us off air in the style that you perhaps would do if you were hosting a kids' TV programme.
Well, no one would want that.
No, okay,
We've all
fair
had a
enough.
lovely show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want to go wild at the end, calling myself in gunge.
I do, indeed. I do, I don't know, that's a hell of a way to go out. Great for the webcam viewers. We do need to just remind people, though, if they want to get in touch, they can check out the website, bbc.co.uk/6music.
Absolutely. If you're a budding she-j, you can get your tapes in, can't you? If you've got any questions, want to suggest any music, you can email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. That is Stephen. It's a PH, people. It's not a V. .6music@bbc.co.uk. You can, of course, text as well. 640.
Well, don't text in the week. That's madness. No one's there to check it out. You can embarrass yourself
it's
there.
on the thing. You
15 seconds or so to go.
No, thanks very much for that. Yes, and you can join Steve next week. He was here 3 till 5 with his mates from Banks and things. Like Harry here. I'm not going to be here, but do enjoy the show. Stuart McConey, Freak Zone, coming up next. And don't miss Guy Garvey at 10 p.m. That is... it was so good.
BBC 6 Music.